All right, everybody, here we are. The best time. A new set for Pocket. It is dropping. This is Paldean Wonders official trailer. Let's take a look. We'll break down every card, but I want to watch through a lot of it and try to not blabber so much to start. Oh boy, Paldea. I said not blabbering and immediately. Sprigatito, a new Sprigatito. New Fuecoco. Quaxley. Beautiful. Of course. Oh, we got Goldango. Oh. They're moving. They're moving quick. Palmy. Ooh, maybe Palmot. Palmot EX. Fido. Wooper. Smoliv. A new Mousehold. That'll be really interesting. Cerulege. Claw. Meowscarada EX. Oh man, okay. Goldango EX. Yep, okay. Alright. Nimona, Arvin, Vezigoza. Alright, we got some cool stuff here to check out. Coming the 26th. Nothing at the end, right? No. Okay, coming the 26th. Alright, let's look through this. We saw a few EXs right here. We expected this to be heavily Paldean themed given the teaser, and they did not disappoint with, I think, almost everything being from Paldea, right? Let's see what we can find here in our trailer. We'll go through each card. All right, Sprigatito. 20 damage with Leafage with 60 HP. Obviously, we have an insane Sprigatito. I don't think this is going to replace it, right? Given how good our Sprigatito is from previous sets, but we'll see. Fuecoco had an interesting move, right? Cheerful Singing a random basic Pokemon from your deck onto your bench. That's extremely strong. 70 HP. Its retreat cost is unfortunate, but outside of that, that's an extremely powerful ability for a colorless too. And Quaxley, Splashing Dodge. Get out of the way. Why is all this stuff flying in front of Quaxley? Dodge the weird animations, Quaxley. Splashing Dodge, 10 damage, flip a coin. If heads, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. Okay. Something we've seen on grass Pokemon before. And now we're going to see what we can get. Okay, what do we see back here? We see Arboliva. We see some Squawkabilly. Oh, Mineshow, like up on the rock here, right? Or no, that's not Mineshow, right? It's Chanpo or whatever. And then we've got Palmy. Okay. I wonder if we're seeing like mostly our EXs here in this image. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, Palmy. Random Spark does 10 damage to one of your Pokemon, your opponent's Pokemon. Okay. What else? Fido, rear kick for 20. Paldean Wooper, I mean, it is interesting because we have Clodsire, right? In the game, we have Paldean Clodsire. So this could be interesting to see a new line of this. Smoliv, heal 10 damage with Absorb. Pretty basic stuff we're seeing here. New Mousehold, triple gnawing. Flip 3 coins for each head. Discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Interesting. Huh. So you could play a Mousehold deck, and instead of going for the big damage, you could be going for a triple gnawing play and just do only 60 damage, but also remove an insane amount of energy on purpose. It seems like probably still too cheesy, but I do like that we're doing more with Mousehold. I think that's pretty cool. And then we had cards like fly around this rock. I don't think we're going to be able to see anything flying around this rock. I'm just curious, like what they're hitting me with here. It looks like that's Tink flying there. I think that might be Cloth, right? There's Cerulege. Okay, so it is what flies up here. It's Tink, Cloth, and Cerulege. Cerulege, Fighting Sword. We have a stage 1, 110 HP, 70 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is an EX, does 70 more. I could definitely see this put into some current Psychic decks. The only problem would be like the Charcadet evolution, but if you put this into, you know, a Gardevoir deck and then you could throw energy on it. However, Charcadet might be a problem here. Cloth, 110. I am saying Cloth, but it's Cloth. 110, no, sorry, 100 HP, I apologize. 70 damage with Adrenaline Hammer. This Pokemon is now confused. Okay. Tink-a-Tink, beat for 30. I wonder if we have a new Tinkaton EX in this set. We've got our supporters coming. Oh, yeah, Meow EX. 160 HP. Stage 2. Pretty low HP. I mean, not the end of the world, but it is a stage 2, right? Flower Trick. Choose a spot from among your opponent's active spot and bench. At the end of your opponent's next turn, do 70 damage to the Pokemon in the spot you chose. Ah, I love that attack. That is so fun. Oh, Flower Trick is so cool. So you can choose, you choose an option. Let's say they only have 2, right? You know you're like hitting a certain like Pokemon on the bench. They could retreat to it, but also you could mess with them. Like you could Cyrus something into the active spot you're not interested in and then target that spot on the bench. Like you could do some really cool stuff with that. And then Solar Beam 2 for 80. All right. Goldengo. Stage 1, obviously, 150 HP. Spending Rush. One of your opponent's Pokemon, this is for a single Metal Energy, is chosen at random for each Metal Energy attached to this Pokemon. For each time it was chosen, do 40 damage to it. Okay, so this is just a cascade of damage everywhere on the board. Of course, the less Pokemon they have, the more likely it is that they are going to be picking one. If they just have one Pokemon, it's all hitting them with Spending Rush. 40 for each energy. So, I mean, if you do throw a ton of Metal Energy on this thing, it's doing ludicrous damage. And if they only have a single Pokemon, it can do some crazy stuff. Also, into certain decks, like into Altaria decks or something like that, this could be hilarious, where you're just like destroying tons of Pokemon. And with 40 damage for a single chip of this Spending Rush, you are KOing every single baby that it touches once, right? Which will be interesting. I wonder, I'm guessing it works kind of like Dragonite though. Like I'm guessing it doesn't like go like bing, bing, bing. That would be cool. If it did each instance of damage one by one, it would actually be kind of insane, right? Because you could set up situations where it would KO something and then move on to something else. In fact, if it did that, I would geek out because that would be a really, really cool situation. And then we have the new supporters. Nemona. During this turn, attacks used by your Pawmot do plus 80 damage to EX Pokemon. Wow. 80 plus 80 on Pawmot. But it does not say Pawmot EX, so I'm assuming we don't see Pawmot EX in this set at all. Wow, plus 80 is insane. Arvin, flip a coin. If heads, put a random item card from your deck into your hand. If tails, put a random Pokemon tool card from your deck into your hand. Ooh, okay, Arvin. I don't hate this. It's a guaranteed draw as long as you have one of either, right? And a lot of decks are going to run tools and items. That's actually pretty fun. I like Arvin. And in general, by the way, we love Arvin. When I first played Scarlet Violet, I was like, this guy's the worst. I hated Arvin. And then you learn his story and you're like, I will die for you, Arvin. Next, we have Mesagoza as our stadium. Once during each player's turn, that player may flip a coin. If heads, that player puts a random Pokemon from their deck into their hand. What? Well, wait, when is the once? Oh, okay. Can you just click it at any time? All right, so here's what here's some of the cool things about Mesagoza. First off, if your deck doesn't have a lot of draw, this helps you. Second, this could help you break your opponent's stadiums. Like, you just have it in your deck to be like, all right, you're playing Peculiar Plaza or whatever. I'm breaking it with Mesagoza, and I don't care. I'm drawing extra cards, right? That could be pretty fun. Anything we didn't see here? There's the Nemona, Fido, Arvin, Ceruledge. This is all the stuff we saw in the trailer. So they're only showing us 2 EXs so far. I think it's fair to assume that Fuecoco and Quaxley it's likely that we have EXs for them. We may have something for Tink. We may have something for, we could have something for like Armarouge or Ceruledge EX. We don't know. It doesn't, I would say, given how Nemona reads, we're not going to be seeing a Pawmot EX in this set. And I think that's the big stuff from this set. So it's a mini set. It comes out next week on the 26th. I think some really cool cards so far. I'm curious what you think in the comments. So far, I would say there isn't a card that's absolutely like blowing me away. I think the most fun card in the set, I don't know, Goldengo is actually super fun, but I think the most fun card in the set looks to be the Flower Trick, right? That's just like incredibly fun. However, I do think Goldengo is really cool. Flower Trick Meow, that like ability is awesome, and it's a single energy, right? So you can have your like Sprigatito active. You could find Meow. You could evolve. Keep only one energy on Meowscarada and just start boom, 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 like flower tricking your opponents. That seems insanely cool. And I guess for a single energy, just being able to call your shot in multiple moments will be really fun. I also think if Goldengo worked the way I called out, where it will KO something before moving on, that would be insane. But let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. New set, Paldean Wonders, coming very, very soon. Yeah.